Hey guys, Hot Take Mark here. So today's topic is a certain outdated mechanic that I think really has to go. Oh wow, he really is sleeping. His eyes are closed too, I think. Wow. Well, let's cut to the chase, eh? So what I'm talking about is this. Yeah, wall bounce. At least that's what I think it's called. How the hell did a goat make its way in here? Huh. But yeah, wall bounce. I don't know the official term, but that's how I refer to it. And I have to say, I kind of know where it's coming from. I have to say, I know where it's coming from. So you have to realize that FromSoft has been making games for quite a long time now, and wall bounce has been around since well, Dark Souls 1 for certain. I never really got into Demon Souls, unfortunately. I really don't have a PlayStation, can't really afford it. I only have my trusty PC. So anyway, yeah, wall bounce has been a thing for a very long time. And at first, like in the beginning, I kinda understand where they were coming from, because Dark Souls, Demon Souls, all those games used to be much more grounded in their dark fantasy genre. They used to be much slower, for the lack of a better word, tactical. The pace of the game was much slower, and it wasn't nearly as quick and dynamic as it is now. And also it was much less flashy, much less anime. You know what I'm saying? So well, here's the thing. Times change, and I really think that this particular mechanic has to go. I mean, well, first of all, I'm gonna show you what it's like to engage with it, so to speak. Well, how it affects the player specifically. So, well, there we go. I mean, you've seen it, right? Boink, you're too close to the wall, you attack, and you will bounce off. Hey, I mean, it's pretty cool, right? But the problem is, when it comes to the player, it's extremely inconsistent. So like when I'm like extremely close to a wall or a pillar like that, well, it's understandable that I will bounce off. But like, check this out. Wait, what was that, right? I mean, the second hit bounced, okay, but the first one didn't? I mean, I kinda almost cut this pillar in half. So what gives? Well, from what I know, you mostly will bounce off if the very beginning of your attack, and it's like close to your own hand. I'm doing this tanky leg. So first of all, your hand that is holding the weapon has to be close to the wall, and second of all, it has to be like at the beginning of the animation, not the end of it. So, well, maybe I didn't really pick the best weapon to demonstrate it. Oh, yeah? I mean, you can already see some inconsistencies. How about a jump attack? Oh wow, what do you know? Jump attacks completely ignore it, because if they didn't, you would have to get wall bounced mid-air, which would be really janky. So, hey. Wow, such a long blade goes completely through. I wonder if the wall is thin enough. Maybe that would be able to even damage a player on the other side. It probably would. It probably would. I mean, it's FromSoft we're talking about here. Another exception is another exception are skills, Ashes of War, weapon arts, whatever you call it. I don't know why. Why is it that FromSoft is so insistent on calling it a different word each time? But whatever. So, wow. Hey, what do you know? So what really is affected by the wall bounce mechanic? Pretty much only your regular attacks, you know, opener. I mean, not really opener, but just like default light attacks, default heavy attacks. If you're too close to a wall, I'm not really sure. Like, what about? Oh, okay. So your running stuff, roll stuff is probably affected. Oh, well. Okay, maybe not really. Hey, I mean, what did I just say? Inconsistencies, right? So, what if I do this? Wow, okay, so roll attacks are a total exception. Isn't that fun? I guess crouch attacks too. Yep. Because why wouldn't they? So, That's my biggest issue with it, is that, well, if you're gonna have a mechanic like that in a game, you really have to make sure that it's done well, otherwise it's gonna be just extremely unfair and janky to interact with. So that's the big thing. I mean, I have some better examples, like, wow, look at this. What was the name? Nagakiba. I think it's an odachi in proper Japanese. Nagakiba is like a personal name. But yeah, boink. Oh, hey, what do you know? I fully expected this attack to actually bounce, but it didn't. Wow, how fun. How about like this? Okay, I have to like aim to the right, sorry, to the left, so that it's like my hand is extremely close to the wall. Wow. What about the poke? Okay, the poke is actually, well, if I just aim a little bit to the right so that my hand doesn't touch the wall, then yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if my blade was poking out on the other side. I'm gonna try to even see it here. Oh, what do you know? Doesn't really work here. Oh, see? I mean, briefly, I'm gonna slow down the footage so you can see it, but yeah. Just like the very tip of the blade was poking out. Yeah, it kind of makes its way through the wall. Wow, so cool. All the other stuff, like jump attack with such a long blade. Isn't that just silly? I mean, come on guys, it's just silly. I think the games have really moved well past. I think FromSoft games really should stop trying to pretend like they are some kind of a, like, what do you even call it? Like, not really dark fantasy, that's just a genre. When you make a game that is as crazy as Elden Ring, compared to how Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1 and 2 used to be, yeah, it's not really like a survival simulator, you know? It's not like a... this game, those games used to be kind of more grounded, slower, more tactical, and kind of more greedy. What else could I call it? They used to kind of have some things, realism mechanics going on, you know? Stamina is a big one. They got rid of it in Sekiro, luckily. Your character will like get tired, lose stamina when performing actions, which would, you know, limit your capabilities. It's all fine and dandy, but, you know, as the games evolve, so you have to let go of some things, in my opinion. That's just it. I mean, check out the spinning slash. Wow. Like, really? Okay, guys, last example that I would just like to mention. It's quite an obvious one. Ultra greatswords, eh? I mean, the biggest weapons that you can think of. Yeah, if I strike it right like this. Oh wow, it went through. Yeah, okay. Maybe let's use this wall here. Yeah, I boinked, because like the starting point of the animation is like to my right. But if I go straight, wow, goes through, no issue. Go like with the wall to my left, no issue. How about the poke? Okay, this one is a bit of an exception, because it starts kind of back, it starts from the back, but it still bounces, which is, I mean, I don't even know what to say. Wow. Oh, yeah. Just give it a bit of a leeway and it goes through, no issue. I mean, what about the weapon art, eh? Wow, goes completely through, like I can't even see my weapon anymore. Yeah. Oh, well, that is a surprise. The crouch attack bounces. I guess the roll attack will as well. Huh. So, well, there you have it, folks. Also, what's important to note is that you never really know which objects will make you bounce. So, I mean, a stone grave, yeah, I can see that. But then there's like a pretty young and thin tree. Those don't make you wall bounce, like pretty much never. They are, you know, some objects. I can't really, you know, I'm not gonna give you like all examples in the entire game. I'm not really that well informed, sorry for that. But I think that it's enough to demonstrate that you never are quite sure, like which, for example, which stone pillar will make you wall bounce and which one won't. The thinner one probably won't, right? But like, you never really know unless you try. unless you engage with it. Yeah, this mechanic is like a remnant from the good old times where like realism, back then each tiny action that you do would have to have some thought behind it. You didn't just spam the weapon skill all the time. but I have to say that there is something that I have to admit. In Elden Ring, compared to Dark Souls games, even though this mechanic still existed and still does, in Elden, I think maybe it's intentional, maybe or maybe not, but in Elden, I don't really think I've ever engaged much with it. I mean, I don't really remember the last time that I actually wall bounced on accident, you know? It's so nerfed now that it's a wonder that it's still here at all. Maybe the only time I think would be if I was in like a tight tunnel, like, you know, something like this. Not even. It would have to be a little bit tighter, but maybe if I stood to the right, yeah, then I can maybe see it. Yeah, a bit, but then you just stand to the left and it's all Gucci. It used to promote like thrusting weapons because, you know, they are so bad, guys. No one uses thrusting weapons except in a tight corridor, right? So it used to be like, oh, you are entering a tight corridor, like underground mine shaft area. You better think twice before whipping out that long-ass katana, or you might wall bounce, like in Goblin Slayer. That's gonna suck. You don't wanna do that, right? Well, it doesn't really matter anymore. It doesn't matter at all. You just have to be like a tiny bit aware of your weapon's moveset, like from which side do you start attacking, and that's about it. I don't even really think about it much anymore. Is there really a point for it to exist, like, at all? In my entire Elden Ring, let's call it career, I really do not remember the last time anything like that happened. I mean, look at this. Like, this is a mineshaft tunnel, right? It does make you feel a little bit cramped, like, you know, you are underground and stuff like that. But like, where does the wall bounce scare part come in to play, you know? Like, yeah, those wooden things that even... Oh, wait, huh, they actually do? Well, sometimes. maybe the metal parts are what causes this. But yeah, see? Even a tunnel like this one. See, I'm in a cramped place right now, in theory. Well, what do you know? It's still wide enough for me to do this. Even if I stood in the middle, no issue. Wow. See? Like, what's the point? That's my question. What's the point of keeping this old-ass mechanic in anymore? It doesn't really do anything good for you. And it will just, like, on a rare occasion, on a very rare occasion, it will just screw you over. Which is just like, I will be honest here. I just think it's unfair. For more reasons than just this, but I just think it's unfair. The entire time the game makes you, you know, think that, oh, you know, you can swing your giant weapon whenever you want. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to, like, swap weapons to like a weapon that, like, is more about thrusting rather than slicing. But on a rare occasion you will be caught unaware in this spot right here, for example, and you will be like, oh my god, no, where did my attack go? But like I said before, it's just so extremely inconsistent. Is it really about realism anymore? I mean, are the FromSoft games in general... Oh, hello. Oh. Huh. Boink. Are the FromSoft games still about realism anymore? Not really, right? I mean, let's be honest here. I don't even remember the last time this wall bounce mechanic did anything that wasn't stupid. I mean, for the lack of a better word. What are the interactions? Maybe you can get something out of it? Like, what if I lure the enemy into a tight corridor? Well, first of all, in PvE, doesn't matter. Sorry, doesn't matter at all. PvE enemies don't wall bounce, just in general. Never, ever, ever, ever. Maybe a human invader NPC, and that's about it. This mechanic doesn't apply to mobs at all. no matter how huge their weapon is. So, yeah. Wow. Isn't that fun? And other than wall bounce, I mean, just the walls having an interaction with the player in general. Where should I go to demonstrate this? Okay, so here's an interesting example. I mean, some of you might probably like that it works like it does, but I mean, my judgment is that it's probably a bug that FromSoft was just too lazy or something that they didn't like remove it. I don't know, some of you might think it's cool. It kinda is, I have to admit. I have to admit it kinda is kinda cool that it works like this, but I have a strong suspicion that it's an unintentional interaction. So, a gravitational missile, right? You do this, and there's like a ball that's very loud, and it pulses a couple of times, and then goes kaboom. Well, if you do it right next to a wall, it will explode with the full power of the final explosion immediately. Kinda cool, right? I mean, it kinda does the same if you aim at the ground. Like I said, I think it's cool. I think it's cool, but I just don't think that it's like an intended interaction. I think FromSoft just lucked out here and made something interesting by accident. So yeah, but gravitational missile, that's like a baby level comparison. That's a baby level example. I mean, that is so ingrained into the well, personality of the build of the spell itself that it's not really that bad. But there is a worse example I can think of that I think you will agree that is kind of bullshit. So I have to go to this and Relana's Twin Moons. Hey, do you know this one? So this is what it does normally. Boink, boink, kaboom. Nice, right? Well, what if you do it right next to a wall? You cannot aim this one into the ground, but you can stand right next to a wall. So what will happen? Let's see. Okay, well, it is as inconsistent as I remember it being, so I'ma try a couple more times. Well, first of all, even though this particular interaction didn't really work quite as well as I hoped it would, I think you could see that the first moon especially exploded much earlier. That's a hard word to pronounce for me. It exploded much faster than it should have, because it, you know, boinked into the wall instead of falling to the floor. I'm not really that good at recreating it. Maybe I will face this way. Actually, I think I know what's the issue. I think you have to be in a place that has a very low ceiling. Okay guys, I have to admit my shortcomings. I really don't know how to recreate it, but I know that it definitely exists, so I don't know, I'm gonna try one last time, maybe in here. Wait, I think maybe that was it actually, I'm not really sure, so when the first moon detonated, it detonated much quicker. When the second moon detonated, there really was no explosion, and then I just, you know, the third strike is the one that I do. I think that the first two strikes, because of the wall here that I was very close to, I think the first two explosions happened much more quickly, and they combined into one, the first one, so it was twice as strong. I'm not really sure. I can't really recreate it as well as I thought I would be, but I definitely saw it in action. If I find the clip, I'm gonna show it to you right now. What? Oh! Oh, I know this one. He used the wall. Holy fuck, so it detonated both of them at the same time because of the, like... But yeah, that's the interaction. And, you know, well, I won't be caught unaware anymore, but let's be honest here. Like, come on, bro. Let's be let's be honest with ourselves. How about you are honest with me? Hmm? How about that? Do you think it's intentional? Do you think that it's supposed to work like this? Come on, like, really, come on.
Come on, dude, be honest, come on.
That's about it for the player. But there is a second layer of stupidity to this mechanic, you know? Okay, so I found myself a nice enemy that has a very long weapon, right? I mean, I know I mentioned it before, but I just think that it's best to drive the point home with a good example. So here is a Fire Knight, and would you look at that? His giant, incredibly long weapon just completely ignores walls? Wow. Is that fair? Like, ask yourself, you might wall bounce sometimes, but this guy never will, even though he has extremely long hands for some reason, extremely long arms, and an extremely long weapon. On top of that, see, like, his weapon genuinely passed through, and if it hit me, it would have done damage. See? 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 Like, I'm sorry, but I just think it's extremely unfair to the player for stuff to work like this. Like, we can wall bounce, technically. It's nerfed now, in a way, but... Oh wow, see? Isn't that fun? I couldn't even see him. His weapon just went through. So yeah, once again, ask yourself, is that fair? Is that fair that the player can wall bounce, but the enemies never ever can? And I can understand the decision. I mean, if the enemies could wall bounce, that could trivialize some of them. You would lure them into a tight space and just beat them easily there. Which, by the way, doesn't even sound that bad. It would be actually kind of fun to reward the player for the strategic thinking of luring the enemy with a giant weapon into a tight space. Wow. Wouldn't it be cool? But I still understand the decision not to make it so, because it would be hard to implement without looking silly. Silly Billy. Silly Billy. Woo! There is a Dark Souls 3 clip that is like really popular. I'm gonna pull it up, Jamie, if I remember. An extreme example of how the lack of wall bounce on enemies can just screw you over, because you know, it can lull you into a false sense of security, that when you like when you run past the enemy and there is like a wall in between the two of you. Wow, he really doesn't like the elevator, huh? What do I get? Wow. Wow, four of them? Yeah, you might be thinking that, like, I just think it's unfair. I just think it's unfair that the game lulls you into a false sense of security, and like you run past an enemy for some reason. You might have a reason, yes. And there is a wall in between the two of you, so you feel safe. You don't really dodge, you can't even see them, so it would be impossible to time a dodge properly. And then you get hit. And then you get hit. Like, how is that fair? How is that fair? I have a theory. I just think it was very hard to implement for FromSoft. I mean, to just calibrate every single enemy, to calibrate all of them, and give them a special animation for wall bouncing if they attack too close to a wall. That would be quite a lot of work. I think so, at least. So, you know, I can kinda excuse it. So what's the main takeaway from this video, huh? So, what's the main takeaway that you can get from this video? What's the point, right? Well, I would just like to say that you have to learn to let go sometimes. You know, times change, you have to let go of some things. And yeah, if you cannot make a game mechanic just fair and consistent for all parties involved, you know, and by all parties, I mean not only all players and the stuff that they do, but also enemies, mobs as well. If you just cannot make it fair and consistent for everyone, then I genuinely think it would be much better to actually not have it at all in the first place, you know. That's my opinion. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you for listening, and it would be really nice if you could just like the video, subscribe, hit the bell, hype it, whatever that is. Oh man, there's so much to do now. A few more YouTube updates, and you're gonna have to fill out a written form to send positive energy to your YouTuber. Well, anyways, see you around. Thank you for listening.